You woke up again. In the middle of the night, suddenly, for no apparent reason. The clock read just past 3, or maybe you didn't even look. But you felt it. The tightness in your chest, your body present, and your soul in motion. This isn't anxiety. It's your soul, trying to awaken through your body. The pressure you're feeling didn't appear out of nowhere. It settled in quietly, as if it had been there for a long time, just waiting for the exact moment to reveal itself. You felt this before. A supple weight in the center of your chest, not pain, not fear, but a comforting, strangely familiar presence, as if something had been waiting for this very moment. Lately, something inside you has begun to shift. It's not the world around you, it's what's happening within. Even when surrounded by people, you feel distant, like the words around you are mere echoes that never truly reach your core. Your body may be here, but it feels like part of your soul has already traveled elsewhere. You smile when it's expected, you respond out of habit, but deep down, an ancient energy is stirring. You've stopped looking for explanations. You've let go of the need to justify this internal distance. In the quiet of your being, you already know this isn't sadness, fatigue, or chemical imbalance. It's something much deeper, something rising from within, a force that was long forgotten, yet never ceased to exist. And now, it has returned, not as a memory, but as a calling. As surreal as it may seem, you are not alone on this path. Others feel this same weight in their hearts, this longing to disappear and, at the same time, to rediscover themselves. While many ignore it, numb it, or silence it, the awakened, the truly sensitive, have come to understand what they feel is not a symptom. It's a sign, and that sign is growing stronger. There is a reason you're hearing these words right now. You didn't arrive here by chance. It was your soul that led you to this exact moment. And if you keep going, if you stay present until the end, everything will begin to make sense. The pressure, the sleepless nights, the tears without explanation, the knot in your chest, the chills, the strange dreams. None of it is random. Each sensation is a reminder. Every discomfort, a code. Your body is trying to tell you something your mind hasn't yet learned how to interpret. And before we go any further, there's something you need to hear with full presence. The pain you've been carrying is not the problem. It is the message. If this resonates with you, write in the comments, "I'm listening." You might be among friends, family, co-workers, and still feel like you don't belong. The conversations flow. The laughter fills the room. The faces are familiar, yet something inside you doesn't fit anymore. It's like being in a room where everyone is watching a movie you've already seen. Even if you try to follow along, your soul whispers, "This story is no longer." That sense of being a stranger everywhere you go didn't just show up out of nowhere. It's been growing quietly, slowly becoming impossible to ignore. Bit by bit, you stopped replying to messages, stopped explaining what you feel, and gave up trying to fit into spaces whose energy no longer aligns with who you're becoming. This isn't escapism. It's vibrational truth. It's your soul withdrawing from everything that no longer harmonizes with your new self. You didn't walk away, the world simply began to speak, a language your soul no longer recognizes. What once made sense now feels empty, and what once brought companionship now weighs unbearably. When your soul begins to remember who you truly are, everything inauthentic starts to hurt. You tried to pretend nothing had changed, tried to convince yourself it was just a passing phase. But something inside refuses to return to normal, because normal no longer resonates with your frequency. This withdrawal is not loneliness, it is alignment. A preparation to move through something significant, knowing, instinctively, that certain voices, places, and habits simply cannot come with you. You feel it in the spaces between moments, in the deep silences, in those quiet times when the world seems distant, and a voice within whispers, "Now you're on the right path." It's subtle, but unmistakable. The message reaching you now is not new. It's ancient, and your soul recognizes it clearly. If this resonates with you, comment, "I'm listening." And if all of this sounds familiar, perhaps what comes next is exactly what you need to remember. What you've been feeling, the pressure in your chest, the lump in your throat, the unexplained chills, these are not random symptoms. They're pulses, vibrational waves moving through your system. A subtle, constant signal flowing through your body like a code waiting to be unlocked. It's a spiritual impulse rooted in your nervous system, and when it pulses, it's proof your soul is trying to move. Yes, to move, to grow, to expand. And that's exactly where the pain begins. Your soul longs to rise, while your ego clings to what's familiar. That silent friction between who you've always been and who you truly are creates intense tension, turning into a kind of pain that isn't physical, it's existential. As if something within you is ready to emerge but doesn't quite know how. You try to ignore it, bury it beneath distractions, staying up too late, keeping busy with endless tasks, drinking too much coffee. But the signal persisted, because it doesn't come from your mind, it comes from your essence. And when the soul wants to speak, no distraction can silence its call. You know those moments when the clock keeps showing repeating numbers? Yksitoista, yksitoista, 22, 22, kolme, kolme kymmentä kolme. Or those strange sensations before falling asleep, like a soft electric current running through you. Maybe out of nowhere, a wave of tears rushes in with no obvious reason. These are signs, little sparks of your soul touching the physical field. Parts of your being reconfiguring to handle something much bigger. Because yes, you're being prepared even if you don't yet know what for. And here's something few people talk about. You thought it was anxiety, but it was your soul asking for space. Space to breathe, to grow, to remember. That signal you've been feeling is exactly that, a spiritual frequency that your body is slowly learning to translate. Like a second language, the language of the soul trying to be heard through these physical signs. And now that you understand, it all begins to make sense. You're not losing your mind. You're waking up. Everything you've been feeling. It's not just coincidence. Your body isn't failing you, it's translating a new language. Or more precisely, a forgotten one. It's a spiritual frequency trying to express itself through physical means. A message that traditional medicine might not understand, but that makes perfect sense when seen through the eyes of the soul. You may have felt a recurring pain in your chest that comes and goes without medical explanation, or that peculiar tingling that spreads through your hands, your feet, and sometimes even your scalp, like something is flowing through your energy channels. Suddenly, chills appear, even when the room isn't cold. Itsy waves slide across your back and arms, bringing with them the clear feeling that something is there. And sometimes, everything seems to spin, not the world itself, but your vibration. A soft dizziness that signals you're no longer aligned with the same frequency as before. These signs aren't limited to your inner world. Your environment starts to respond too. Maybe you've noticed clocks stopping without reason, or heard popping sounds and buzzing when trying to sleep, as if something were trying to get your attention before rest. Even technology may act strangely around you, freezing or failing for no reason. None of this is accidental. All of it is field interference, your field, which is in the process of transformation. When the soul begins to awaken, it doesn't use words. It speaks through frequency, through vibration, and yes, through symptoms. The body becomes the instrument through which this message is played, sending signals the mind cannot yet decode. But remember, you are not broken. You're just in the middle of decoding, learning to translate this new language that your essence, ever so subtly, has been trying to reveal. You can feel it, something around you has changed. And it's not just inside you. It's as if the air has taken on a different weight, as if time is speeding up, and the world has become both heavier and emptier. That subtle feeling has a deeper reason. The field is changing. No longer vibrates the way it used to. The planet's frequencies are adjusting to a new cycle, and everything that doesn't resonate with this new energy begins to collapse. Systems, structures, beliefs, behavior. 7 people. You feel this collapse not because there is something wrong with you, but because you are deeply connected. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's an antenna tuned to the invisible. What feels like emotional confusion might actually be collective pain passing through your field. You absorb, you filter, and you feel deeply because there is something within you meant for this. Some are born simply to exist, others to transmute. You feel too much, think too deeply, and wonder why you carry a weight that doesn't seem to be yours. Maybe it is. Maybe you were called to anchor new frequencies in a world that clings to old patterns. Maybe your body was chosen by the unseen to manifest this transformation. It's no coincidence that you're hearing these words right now. Among the thousands of codes activating across the world, only a few were programmed to awaken first. The pain you feel may be the memory of those ancient codes being reawakened. In forgotten records of ancient civilizations, this pain was already described. Sumerian texts spoke of the remembrance of the returners beings who, during times of transition, would return to Earth to reactivate the field, carrying with them unexplainable pain and memories that go beyond this lifetime. And now, all of it is coming back. You're not feeling this because you're lost, but because you're remembering. There is a silent moment when everything changes, not because the world around you has shifted, but because something inside you finally said, yes. Yes to the pain. Yes to the calling. Yes to what you once tried to resist, explain, or control. When you stop fighting, the pain ceases to be a burden and becomes power. What once weighed you down now leads the way. What once suffocated now reveals. This crossing doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It happens in the unseen, when suddenly your dreams become more vivid than the day itself. Places, people, messages will take on a meaning you can't explain, but feel to be real. A supple calm takes over. A peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. A certainty that arises without logic, filling every space. It's in that exact moment that the chaos of the world begins to feel far away, not because things outside have improved, but because the inner temple has been activated. When that temple lights up, your soul anchors itself, and you become pure presence, stillness, and frequency. Other people's words no longer shake you. The rush of the world no longer pulls you along. The fear that once guided you now simply watches from a distance, as you walk with lighter steps because something within you has awakened and chosen to stay. This is the crossing. It's not an escape, but a return. You always thought this awakening started recently, but the truth is different. It was always written. Since time immemorial, ancient prophecies whispered of the pressure of remembrance, a force that would rise within sensitive bodies as Earth prepared for a new cycle. These accounts, drawn in forgotten languages and mysterious symbols, predicted that at an unexpected moment, the invisible would manifest through a kind of pain that, instead of destroying, would serve as a portal for rebirth. This revelation, so supple and yet so powerful, is not a matter of chance. It is the echo of something ancestral returning to shake the worn-out structures of reality. The pain you feel is not just an isolated symptom. It's a portal, an invitation from the unseen for you to reconnect with your lost essence. Every tingling, every tightness in your chest, every knot in your throat is your soul knocking, insisting that you notice. What you've called suffering was, in truth, your essence trying to break free. That feeling of persistent, mysterious discomfort isn't a flaw in your body. It's the divine touching you, calling you into a new way of being. What once seemed like anxiety or exhaustion was really your spirit asking for space to reveal itself, to break away from old patterns and initiate a time of deep transformation. And here lies the most surprising revelation. Many of you have felt this for years. In childhood, in dreams, in the quiet hours before dawn, there were moments when the soul made itself known with an intensity beyond explanation. Those walking this path carry a Codian ancestral memory that, until now, has been sleeping quietly. Now, that code is being reactivated. The pain you feel is the living memory of a greater mission, a calling to rise beyond the ordinary and embrace the potential to transform. The world is about to be turned upside down, and in the middle of this upheaval, you will discover that every challenge, every disrupted harmony, is part of a larger design. Because the unseen is finally ready to reveal itself, and when it does, your soul, awakened and grounded, will become a beacon that lights the way for a new era of consciousness. Close your eyes for a moment, not because it's a rule, but because there are mysteries that only reveal themselves in the dark. Breathe gently, allowing each inhale to bring a warm, silent light that enters through your nose and spreads throughout your being. Hold your breath for just a second and, in that stillness, affirm with conviction, I remember who I am. Now, exhale slowly, as if you were releasing not just air but also fear, doubt, and the urgency that keeps you from simply being. Let a space open within you, creating a pause that invites transformation. Again, breathe deeply. Feel the light filling your lungs, your spine, your skin, bringing with it the feeling of being reborn. Hold that moment and repeat, I am ready. ready to cross over, ready to leave behind outside voices, other people's expectations, and the fatigue that was never yours to carry. As you exhale, release the weight of what no longer serves you, the role you've worn for far too long. Let your body empty itself of everything that was never meant for your soul. Now, simply be here, in this exact moment, because it is here, not before or after, that everything activates. The silence you feel is not emptiness. It is the cradle of a new frequency, where the body aligns and the soul anchors itself. If a tear comes, let it fall. If your heart, listen to it. You are not creating something new, you are remembering what was always yours. The field recognizes your presence and responds with the strength of the invisible, affirming that in this simple and profound ritual, your true essence awakens. You've made it this far. You've felt. You've remembered. You've crossed. And now, something has shifted. Not outside, but within. Between thoughts, there's a new kind of silence. A soft presence, almost imperceptible, but undeniably real. The message has found you, and once it arrives, there's no going back to who you were, because you're not the same. Something within you has been deeply touched, and your signal has begun to grow. Now you're starting to realize that you were never alone. There was always something or someone walking beside you, supporting your journey. But now, you know. Now, you feel it. The pain that once confused your mind was only your soul asking for passage. It was never punishment, it was permission. And by accepting this call, you are, in truth, coming home. If this message has found you, don't ignore the call. Leave a comment, "I'm listening." That simple gesture activates something in the field, confirming that your soul is ready to awaken. And in the next video, you'll remember the exact moment you chose this life, not with your mind, but with your body, with your vibration. And once this awakening takes root, nothing will ever be the same again.